3 months, the Office of the Minister of Public Safety knew that Canada's most heinous criminal was being moved from maximum to medium security. Paul Bernardo is a serial killer, a serial rapist, and without a doubt, the most heinous monster of our time. Yet this minister didn't tell the victims' families and pretended to be shocked by the news. Today, Conservatives demand the minister stand in this House, apologize, do the right thing. Just say sorry and resign. If you care about these victims' families,
Mendicino
do it.
can never say sorry, even though he's a pretty sorry-ass minister.
I just want to remind the honourable members to place their questions through the chair, not directly to each other, and the answers for that matter. The Honourable Government House Leader.
Mr. Speaker, it's just to observe that I don't think that casting aspersions about whether anybody in this House doesn't feel absolute horror and repulsion at these crimes. It just isn't a constructive or useful approach to accuse anyone of not caring about these families or these victims. The member obviously knows, just as she cares deeply about what happened in those crimes, so does every member of this House. There's an opportunity to talk about how we can ensure the decision that was made by Correctional Services Canada doesn't happen again, and that is action, and that is an opportunity that we have to take this together.
The Honourable Member for Peterborough-Kawartha.
The Minister of Public Safety can't even stand in the House and answer the question I just gave him. He can't even look in that camera and say to those victims' families, I'm sorry. Instead, he wants to divert. He wants to blame everyone else. He is the minister. The buck with public safety
That's a good
stops with
question.
him, no one else.
Hey, this is good.
Really resign, and if he won't resign, tell us right now which staff member is going down for not telling him.
Where are we?
Minister for Public
34.
Safety.
Pretty good. Yeah.
Mr. Speaker, I want to assure that member and all members in this chamber that I grieve with the families of Leslie Mahaffey and Kristen French. I said so when I first communicated my shock and outrage at the decision of the CSC. I said so this morning when I spoke to the representative for the families. I think all members can and should empathize with those families, with the families of all victims, and we will continue to do everything that is necessary to put their rights at the very center of those decisions which are taken around the transferring of inmates. That's precisely what I've done today by signaling new instructions to the CSC.
The Honourable Member for Calgary-Nose Hill.
I remember sitting here 5 years ago when the public safety minister said he would make changes to the prison transfer program when another child killer, Terry Lynn McClintock, was transferred to a minimum security healing lodge. You know, right now, I am struck by the fact that the Prime Minister has only ever fired one person. So I've got to wonder, does the minister think the reason the Prime Minister hasn't fired him, well, he did fire Jody Wilson-Raybould for doing the right thing, is because of Jody's gender?
Oh,
The Honourable
good
Government House Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I would say that, again, I've offered many times to have a constructive conversation around specifics about how
That's
we
a
can
good
deal
one.
with the decision made by Correctional Services Canada. Instead, you know, we're getting into what I would categorize as very partisan territory on an issue that is extremely sensitive, that we're dealing with victims here, that we all care about. And I look across to the member. I know that she cares as much about this as any other member does in the House. So let's have a constructive conversation. I would suggest that victims is not a...
The Honourable Member
Unfortunately,
for
Trudeau's
Calgary-Nose
not there
Hill.
Respectfully,
to answer
I would
that.
argue the government has had 5 years to have a constructive conversation with this. Since Terry Lynn McClintock was re-victimized, her family was re-victimized when she was transferred to a minimum security prison. You know, my colleagues have already lined down the litany of failures of this minister. It's not just the Bernardo issue today. So if he won't admit a gendered aspect to the firing in his cabinet, which I think is true, will he at least have the courage to name which one of his staff he's going to make fall on their sword for this issue?
I hope you're enjoying this channel as much as I enjoy putting the material on here. This is not just about politics. I sing some of my favorite songs from the Great American Songbook. And you can also watch my latest show where we do some of the news you're not going to hear anywhere else. But please like, subscribe, and hit the bell for notifications. If you want to be part of this station, please be a subscriber. We want you.